Hey guys, welcome back to another Theory of Everyday Life. This time we are going to be studying emotion management, and the theorist who has done probably the most in this field, and certainly got it started, is Arlie Hochschild. This is Arlie Hochschild wrote for everybody who has ever waited tables. That's where she kind of starts with her work. So she's a jumping off point though from dramaturgy. Goffman was talking about about impression management, and about how you are trying to use your appearance and your manner and whatever is in the setting to convey a certain impression. Hochschild noticed that it was also important to present context-appropriate emotions in order to convey in order to convey the version of yourself you want somebody else to buy. And that got her thinking about, so is it just you fake being concerned about a person? Is there something deeper than that? And in either case, does it have consequences for you? We'll talk at the end about the long-term effects of it, at least the ones that she speculates could be a problem. Okay, so to begin with, she distinguishes between surface acting and deep acting. Surface acting, you want to think about Goffman's idea of manner here. So it's a person manipulating surface appearances in order to convey an emotional expression. So it's me, hearing, I'm back in the classroom and you have a question, and I kind of contort my face with a concerned look like I care what you're asking. That's kind of surface acting. Hochschild would say, and I apologize if I mess up her name. I'm pretty sure it's Hochschild, but I don't know. It's one of those names that I even though I've like watched YouTube videos to learn her name, it's hard to keep it straight. Deep acting involves something different than that. So surface acting is me physically looking like the emotion I want to convey. Deep acting is not just performing the emotion, but actually experiencing the emotion as part of the performance. So that's what you need to know between surface acting and deep acting. She studies emotion management in two contexts, in our personal lives and in our work lives. So we'll start with personal life. Hochschild is, to my knowledge, the first person to identify a concept called feeling rules. We're going to think about these as norms for behavior, but they are norms about the standards for managing a person's emotions. So feeling rules right there. Feeling rules lay out, I believe she considers 3 different parameters of how you manage your emotions in your personal life. The extent of feeling in a particular situation, so how sad or how angry or how happy is appropriate. Because you can say, like, a situation where you run into somebody and it turns out that they can come to a party that you thought they weren't going to be able to come to. The proper emotion there is happiness. But if you don't show any happiness, that obviously is emotionally inappropriate. But if you throw off your backpack and start running around cheering, that's too much. So the extent of feeling in a particular situation is the first parameter of feeling rules. Second is the direction toward what. So if I find out, let's say it's a slightly different situation, and I find out that I am not going to get the class schedule that I want for the next semester. It makes sense for me to be mildly upset about that. That would be a proper thing to feel. But it wouldn't be proper for me to start crying about it. That feeling in that direction is wrong in that situation. So it's not just the extent, like how much, but it's the correct feeling in the correct direction at any particular time is important as well. And third is the duration. So how long you experience or convey the experience of an emotion. That's what feeling rules are about. Or those are the parameters of feeling rules. Hochschild says that that the feeling rules exist to facilitate emotional exchange. We'll deal with exchange theory in a little bit, in a couple of videos, but for right now, just think about the idea of you give me some news, you expect some sort of emotional reaction from me. There's an exchange that goes on. I am giving you what you are hoping that I will give you, and if I don't, then there's a problem. She says that emotional exchange is like gift giving, that if a certain emotion is given, a certain other emotion is expected, and that emotional exchange serves to cement the social bond between two people. So if I give you some piece of sad news, I had a pet that died or something like that, for you to just be like, that is like, you can do that, right? You have the agency to be able to do that, but what happens is it probably destroys any sort of relationship that we have, or at least, if it's a person that I know relatively well, it makes me reassess it. The social bond that existed only exists if we are putting the proper amount of emotion into the relationship, exchanging the proper amount of emotion. Okay, that's basically it for personal life. We've got feeling rules, and I told you the 3 parameters of them, and that is why they exist to cement social bonds. In work life, what we're going to talk about here is emotional labor. Now, I'm going to take you way back to the beginning of the course when we talked about Karl Marx. Marx said that economic value is produced by manual labor. There is his labor theory of value. Hochschild, who, again, I'm just going to say, how cool is she that she is taking something as simple as the feelings that we have and understanding them in this deep of a way. She says, I'm not sure that that's right anymore. If I'm waiting tables and I do the work, but I do it with absolutely no emotional expression on my face, people are not just going to not tip me, they may not come back to that restaurant. Economic value, Hochschild says, in a service economy depends on emotional labor as much as it depends on the actual manual labor, which is a pretty stunningly cool thing to kind of conceptualize. She says, and if you've ever waited tables, you'll recognize exactly what she's talking about. She says, one component of the product sold is the physical thing, but another component of the product sold is the emotional atmosphere created around the product, in this case, the service. So she talked about it with regard to flight attendants, that a flight attendant had to, it wasn't just a flight attendant's job to make sure people are safe and to serve them, their snack and their drink, but it was also their job to create a certain emotional atmosphere in the flight, in the cabin. Sorry, the word flight shouldn't have stuck me that much. All right. And if you've ever waited tables, same thing. Like, if you don't act a certain way, and regardless of how you really are doing, if you don't summon up a relatively cheerful disposition for the people that you're waiting on to consume as part of the thing that they're buying, you get stiffed, and your boss probably gets upset with you because you're messing up the experience for those consumers, and therefore they may not come back again. All right, to finish up Arlie Hochschild, emotion work is the sort of either the surface acting or the deep acting that you do, but she says it's also and it's in terms of our personal life and in terms of our work life, but she says it's not just summoning up the right feeling, the right emotion, it's also suppressing the wrong ones. Because again, if you've ever waited tables, a lot of times you're angry or you're sad or whatever you're feeling, and those things are not allowed to be there. And this is where we get to the end of it. Hawkschild worries about, so if you spend a significant amount of your life having feelings and disregarding them or forcing them down, emotions are messages to ourselves from our body saying, this is a positive thing, or this is a negative thing, or this is a scary thing. And if we spend a lot of our time denying, not listening to those messages, her concern is that we are going to have a difficult time, first of all, having those emotional experiences when they are appropriate. We basically numb ourselves, but also we don't get the messages that we're supposed to get, that absent the particular feeling rules or emotional expectations at work, we don't get those messages that we're supposed to get. Okay, that's it for emotion management. Next time we're going to get really, really weird with ethnomethodology. It's a difficult one as compared to the last few that we've had. So that'll be my work in the next video. I'll see you guys then.